The Evermore podcast is now sponsored by WFST Total Compliance. WFST provides fire safety requirements UK-wide to prepare you and your employees should the worst happen. Do what you do best and visit wfst.co.uk today. Enjoy the episode. Hey everyone, welcome back to Evermore YouTube channel. It's Chris back with an instant match reaction to that turgid performance that we've just seen at St James's Park, where Newcastle United have had their arses handed to them 3-1 by Nottingham Forest, and one of our former players who wasn't good enough to make the grade according to us, and many people attached to the football club, scored a hat-trick. Can you believe it? I really can't. I'm actually still trying to remember how the goals went through, to be honest with you. I think I'll try to erase them from my memory, but a terrible Boxing Day performance by Newcastle United that wouldn't have gone amiss in previous eras. We'll get stuck right into it. Quick half an hour chat, guys, because it is Boxing Day. I'm sure. Merry Christmas to all you guys as well. I'm sure you've all had a lot of things to do with the family today, especially watching a crap football game like that. So we'll have a quick little chat about it. Talk about the key moments as well. And if you have any children in the room, I would advise that you put them somewhere safe where they can't hear half the words that I'm about to use. So just before we get stuck in, as always, remind you, if you're new to the channel, you're just checking us out for the first time, great to see you. Sorry, it's going to be a real negative one. 2 weeks in a row, this, which isn't very good. It's not very like Newcastle United these days, but unfortunately, that's where we are. But if you are checking us out for the first time and you fancy subscribing, smash that button. We'd love you to come join us. We're over 6,000 subs, so loads of them for you guys on the Evermore YouTube channel. It's all free content. If you want to give a little bit back to the channel, there is a members option down there too. And if you can like the video, it really helps everything flow in terms of the old algorithms and all of that. And I don't know who was doing the algorithms today for Newcastle, whether it was Dr. Death, Jason Tyndall, or Eddie Howe himself, but there is some serious questions that need to be answered. So let's get stuck in. And so this is how the lads lined up today with the Forest game. To be honest, I mean, the changes weren't particularly surprising. Alexander Isak come in for Callum Wilson. Callum's done all right since he's come back, but Isak come off the bench in the shocker at Luton and looks sharp, so I'm not surprised that he started. I was happy to see Louis Miley still in the midfield. More on him in a second. Bruno Longstaff either side of him. Byrne was in at left back, and obviously Trippier, Shaw and Botman at the back as Lascelles was out with injury. But it was great to see Joe Linton back on the bench as well, and the bench started to look a little bit better. But if I'm brutally honest with you, one thing that worried me, especially with the likes of Alanga in the Forest team who've got pace, was Dan Burn at left back. It worries me on quite a lot of games, actually, to be honest with you. But Eddie Howe decided to go with Dan Burn because he's one of his favourites. We'll come on to Dan Burn in a bit more detail in a second. But in terms of the game itself, so we started quite strong. We looked like we wanted to put it on them even the first couple of minutes, to be honest with you. We were right in their faces, we were pressing high, and it was that transition again of Newcastle United at home, Newcastle United away from home, two completely different sides. And we go a goal in front, and it has to be said, unbelievable pass by Louis Miley. Again, the vision this young boy has at 17 years old to just poke that ball through the gap between the Forest players. Alexander Isak latches onto it. The Forest defender hangs out a leg, clips him. To me, it's 100% a penalty. They went to VAR check as well, but it was definitely a penalty. Isak pops up, slots it away, nice and cool, and you think, right, come on, we've started, let's go. Let's get 2 and 3. Let's batter these lot like we did with Fulham, a couple of weeks ago. And then we take them, have chances, we don't take them. I think Almiron has a couple of chances that he kind of snatches at, skies them over the bar. Just again, with Miggy Almiron, he seems to do the hardest part right, and then the easiest part, his brain just goes to mush. He doesn't know what he's doing. Isak has a couple of chances as well. He probably should do a little bit better with. We're fucking around with the ball too much on the edge of the box, too many passes, not enough decisive action in terms of making runs and having shots. And then Forest come back into the game, and it comes initially from a Miggy Almiron error. But I'm gonna go in on Trippier on this as well, to be honest with you. So Trippier still doesn't look right to me at all. Doesn't look right to a lot of people. And Miggy Almiron wins the ball back really well, real good pressure, wins the ball back, and it's the decision making that he can't follow through with. He then loses the ball, puts us under pressure. The midfield have pushed forward too much as well, to be fair, between Bruno, Miley, and Longstaff. One of them technically should stay further back in case we get hit on the break. And Forest, it showed little spells of that little, break and counter-attacking style football with the pace. Earlier on, they just couldn't put it together. So it wasn't like the warning shots weren't there, but the three midfielders get sucked up into the box. I'm not going to fully blame them for it, but it's poor midfield play. And again, it just massively highlights the need for a number 6, as Mark said in the chat before we come on live. And he's totally right. We need a number 6 player for that exact reason. When you've got teams that can beat you on the break with pace, you need somebody who's got a brain to go, actually, do you know what? If Miley and Bruno are going to go into the box, I'm just going to go back 15 yards, stand on the halfway line. If we get caught in the break, at least I'm on the body back. And they didn't do it. They all got sucked up into it. Sean Longstaff, for all of his endeavour and his energy and his running, his positional sense is pretty poor, and he lacks a bit of a football brain as well at times. He gets too caught up in the play, a bit like your cat chasing a fucking laser pointer they got for Christmas. He's a little bit like that, and that's exactly what happened there. So we get hit on the break, and Morgan Gibbs-White goes flying up the pitch. And Trippier looks like he's going to have a nibble at him, right? And he has a tiny little toe, almost like he's dipping his toe in the water in the swimming pool to see whether it's cold enough. He just a little toe dip to the point where, Morgan Gibbs-White kind of stutters a little bit. But then Trippier just lets him go. And he goes, running up the park, gets it to Olanga, crosses it. Chris Wood standing in the middle of the box with a freedom in St James's Park, and he puts in the back of the net for 1-1. Devastated. I'm looking now thinking, for one, Miggy Almiron's lack of a brain puts you in that position in the first place. Two, the midfield lack of discipline and positional nous puts you in that position as well. But why the fuck is Kieran Trippier not just wiped out Gibbs-White? Take a yellow card, take one for the team. He's an experienced player. The Trippier of last season would have done that. The Trippier of earlier this season would have wiped out Gibbs-White and took a yellow card. What the fuck is going on with Kieran Trippier right now? I have no idea. He keeps playing week in, week out, and he keeps making errors in key areas. Yes, he didn't make a gaff like he made against Everton, or he gets squared up and done like he did for Spurs. But that's a really bad decision. That if you're playing Sunday League, you wipe that guy out and take a yellow card for your team. That's just basic football 101, that is. So we're level now. When you think, what the fucking hell is going on? Then you go into the half-term break, your half-time break, so you come out, half-term break, you sound like back at school, I think, so then you go back to school and learn how to fucking defend. So at the half-time break, we come out and I'm thinking, right, let's go for them, let's batter them, let's get it sorted. And then just, honestly, we just seem to fade away. We absolutely give it away. I mean, the second goal is absolutely embarrassing. It really, really is. Chris Wood runs at Dan Burn, and Dan Burn must have had a fucking hell of a Christmas dinner, by the way, right? He must have had a good few pigs in blanket, because the bloke looks slower than a tanker trying to leave a fucking port. What was he doing? He made Chris Wood look like Lionel Messi, turned him inside and out like a fucking sleeping bag on a camping trip, right? And he scores. He scores a second goal, Chris Wood. I don't think he scored 2 goals for Newcastle the entire season that he was here. Comment F and Matt Berry said, "Come on, have Chris Wood back." If it was that Chris Wood week in, week out, mate, yes, I'd have him back. But that shows you how bad that we were. And he slots it away, and you think, oh, can it get any worse than this, can it? Howe makes the right substitutions. He hooks off Almiron, who's been stinking. He hooks off Sean Longstaff, who's been stinking. And he brings on Wilson. Sorry, he took off Burn, a bigger pardon. It was Burn and Miggy to start with. And then Longstaff shortly after that. I would have took Longstaff off way before that because he was shit as well. But he takes off Miggy and Burn, who Burn knew he had a shit game. You could see it all over his face. I love Burn to bits. I love his character and all that stuff, but he has not got the legs at the top level up against wingers with pace. That's just a natural thing. You've got Tino Livramento, who's got pace. Lewis Hall's got pace. You've got to be smarter when you're picking your team lineups. You shouldn't have played Dan Burn against teams with pace because he was going to get exposed. That's exactly what happened today. I'm sorry. Eddie Howe's got to take that one on himself. That's on Eddie Howe, nobody else. So going back to the substitutions, Livramento comes on. You think, right, that's the right call. Wilson comes on and think that's the right call. Then you shift Isak over to the left, and you never get the same out of Isak on the left that you do in the middle. And I just think he didn't get into the game as much. He had a couple of chances in the second half. Probably should have done a bit better with a few of them. It should have done better with the header in the first half, actually, as Miguel Almiron should have done with the rebound as well. He tries to stoop to head it rather than just fling his body at it. I don't know what was going on there, but that was the first half. So in the second half, and then Forest break again, and it's a great run by Chris Wood, but Chris Wood's got no pace. So how has he managed to get away from our defence, and how has our defence suddenly become that slow and that shit that they can't catch up with Chris Wood. Dubravka comes out 1-on-1. If you're being massively harsh, Dubravka goes to the ground a little bit easy. Chris Wood dances around him, slots it in, and Chris Wood has a hat-trick at St James's Park. This is fucking abysmal. I don't care how optimistic you are, how much Kool-Aid you've drank, how much you love Eddie Howe. You can have a tattoo of the bloke on your ass, as far as I'm concerned, but that is fucking abysmal to see that at St James's Park. It really, really is. There's no chance in God's green earth Newcastle United are going to get top four if they can't beat Forest, Bournemouth, Everton, Luton. No chance. No chance whatsoever. So that's for me. I've given up on top four. It's fucking done as far as I'm concerned. Unless there's a complete renaissance to this football club in terms of new personnel, new tactics, and new mentality for the rest of the season, we're not going to finish top four. I've made me peace with it. Right, I'm going to breathe and go into some of your comments there. George is saying this is one of the worst performances at home I've ever seen. I totally agree with that. I really, really do. Yeah, I've got to say 66 credit to Forest. They did work hard, but we made them look a lot better. Ian is saying, who's taking responsibility for that crocker shite? It's got to be Eddie Howe. It's got to be Eddie Howe. He picked the team. He sets the tactics up, and that looked terrible. That could have been a Steve Bruce team and a Steve Bruce performance. If you didn't know that Eddie Howe was the Newcastle United manager, you'd been in a coma when you woke up, you'd have thought that was still Steve Bruce. Everything about that stunk like a Steve Bruce performance. The only thing that was missing was Maxi doing step-overs in the corner flag when we're 3-1 down. Smithy 95, it was a load of shit, mate. Absolutely. Would be farmer saying any truth in the room that Harvey Barnes got us on the foot. He might have done not to get back in this team, mate. George again is saying Almiron sabotaged so many promising positions in the first half, conceded possession for their equaliser. The problem is with Mickey Almiron, he puts us under pressure. He puts us under pressure in terms of making stupid mistakes, giving the ball away, and his teammates have got so caught up in the attack that they think there's a chance then. I think they forget how shit he can be and how much he loses the ball. That's what happened today, and that's how we got caught short. The only player for me, for Newcastle United, I'll get this right out of the way, the only player for me today, which can take any credit, was Louis Miley. I thought he got on the ball, he tried to make things happen, some lovely passing movements. He got ignored numerous times again by Miguel Almiron, who's so fucking thick that he can't see the lads run half the time. That winds me up no end. I'm sick to death of Miguel Almiron. I really, really am. He's not the only person to blame for that equalising goal in the first half, but his lack of ability, his lack of clinical nature to take his chances is really costing this football team now. He's not as good of a player as they think he is. He's not as good of a player as you may think he is. He's a squad player to come off the bench and run at tired legs. He's not the man to take you to top four football or to get you into the next stage of Champions League or to win your trophies. He's too indecisive, and that's a fact. And all these people who drank the Kool-Aid and he's smiling, he was happy and he runs around. I mean, fucking hell. If that's what you want to do, go watch the fucking pantomime or something. There's guys smiling and running around in the background. Don't go watch a football game because the guy can't do what needs to be done at the key moments. Lucky Ducky saying the same information. There's no surprise to the opposition. Yeah, no tactics, no plan B. We're saying, Chelsea fan here, do you think Lewis Hall is wasting his time at your club? I'm pissed off seeing him on the bench. No more pissed off than I am, Weira, especially when you see Dan Burn turning like a pub team player who got on at 3:00 in the morning. I've no idea is the answer to that, mate, in terms of Lewis Hall. No idea. The question has been asked of Eddie. He says he's part of his future plans. I'm not sure how true that is, but when you see Dan Burn putting in a performance like that, and you think to yourself, if I'm Lewis Hall, I'm probably going to my agent saying, send me back to Chelsea, because if I kind of get a game ahead of this fucking guy, I'm wasting my time. Sai is saying, if we lose to Liverpool at the weekend and lose to the Mackhams in the Cup, do you think it will be the end of Howe? I don't think it'll be the end of Howe, Sai, but this is a very touchy subject, I think, for the fan base. You get people who shout people down for even suggesting that Eddie Howe is getting something wrong. You can't criticise the bloke in some people's eyes. You find on our channel to do it. If you want to criticise Eddie Howe, jump in the comments and criticise Eddie Howe. He's the manager of this football club. When things go wrong like that, he has to take ownership of it, and he has to take responsibility for picking players who are underperforming, who look off the pace, who have got weaknesses that the opposition clearly exploit. He has to take responsibility for that. Doesn't matter how well he's done in the past, he has to take responsibility for it. I don't think that he'd be sacked. No, I don't. I think he has enough credit in the bank, but January is a huge month for the football club and for Eddie Howe. These are very, very difficult games. If Newcastle United can turn up and play the way we know they can play under Eddie Howe, to be fair to him, we could win a few of those games. But if they don't sort something out and quickly, we won't win a few of those games. I'd be lucky if we win any of those fucking games, to be honest with you. You know, you're talking about Liverpool away, City at home, the Mackhams in the Cup, Villa, all teams who have got something to gain by beating us. Yes, the Mackhams are in the lower league. Yes, they got beat off Coventry the other day. This is the biggest game they've had in a decade or more. They're going to be throwing the kitchen sink at it. And if we go into it half-arsed, like we did against Luton, with no fight and no passion, like we did today, complacent and dragging our heels, we will get done. We will get done, and the Mackhams will beat it. And that could put monumental pressure on Eddie Howe's shoulders. But he is under pressure. Every single football manager is under pressure. That is a fact. Anybody who says they're not under pressure is talking out their fucking arsehole. Doesn't matter how good they are, right? Pep's under pressure. Klopp's under pressure. Everyone's under pressure. Ancelotti's under pressure. Football managers are under pressure because that is the nature of the job. And Eddie Howe knows he's under pressure, right? How much pressure he's under dictates as to how badly we're doing as a football team. The January window is coming. The club simply cannot drag their heels. I think the last few performances, if anything else, have showed that this club needs huge investment in the squad now. Quality needs to be increased exponentially for us to do better in this league than we are doing right now. Last season, we were fantastic. We punched way above our weight with the players that we had. These players are now at a level that isn't the level that they probably belong at. When you look at Champions League and playing against top 6 teams and things like that, that's just not where the likes of Byrne and Longstaff and even Wilson to an extent, Miggy, they don't belong at that level. They're not good enough. Yes, they can be off the bench as impact players and run at tired legs and maybe change a game for you, but not from the start. We've seen that already. Too many big moments this season. People like Miggy Almiron have fucked up, Byrne today, even Trippier. You cannot qualify for the top 4 after losing games like we've lost over the last 5 or 6 weeks against opposition like that. We are going to struggle. We really, really are. So let's have a look here. Ty is saying Howe will not be the manager of Newcastle at the start of next season. It's a bold claim, mate, but I think if things don't change, it's not one that is ridiculously out there for me. Ringo is saying worry is that the teams that are beating us are so easily relegation teams. This is the thing, Ringo. If that was a Steve Bruce performance or John Carver or a Pardew or something, everybody would be going fucking mad about it. But because it's Eddie Howe, it's okay, don't worry about it. I was listening to some real, top draw fan content material of the week, and they were mocking people for being pissed off about the Luton game and jumping on social media and venting and screaming and all that stuff, right? And, I understand maybe taking a breath and putting your phone down and not jumping on and having a bit of a moan, right? But, football is a game of passion, right? You're passionate when you win. You're passionate when you lose. And as a football fan, it's your God-given right to say your piece. And, you shouldn't be mocked or ridiculed for that or told you're one thing or another. If you're not happy with the current performances, then that's entirely your opinion to say you're not happy with those performances. If you're happy with it or you've got confidence that the team will turn around, then fair enough, say that as well. But both opinions are allowed to exist in the same plane of existence, right? Don't bin somebody else off for having an opposite opinion. I'm sick to fucking death of seeing that, reading that, and hearing that, right? The team is struggling at the minute. You can blame injuries, you can blame fatigue, you can blame the amount of games, all that kind of stuff as well, right? But sometimes you've got to blame the manager for getting it wrong, and today he got it wrong. John Veach is saying, I'm just pleased we've got 29 points. I don't know if it's that bad yet, John, but if we keep going the way we are, mate, it will be. Williamson, folks can stop saying we're ahead of schedule. We have to fight to be in the top 7. That's another thing as well, William. I'm pissed off with this little keychain. We did a TikTok piss take thing about it ages ago, but it doesn't go away. Look how far we've come. In Eddie, we trust, trust the process, and we want a team that tries. We want a sort of fucking nonsense that the troll out. It's become like the Newcastle United fan base equivalent to Brexit. That's what it's become. And it's fucking mental. When you play as bad as we did against Luton and as bad as we have today, every football fan worth their socks has a right to complain about that, right? That doesn't mean they want rid of the manager. It doesn't mean they want rid of the lads, but they've got every single right to voice their opinion and say, I'm not happy about what I've just seen. And don't ridicule somebody for that or dig them out for that. That's their call. If you want to take them on and say, well, I get what you're saying, mate, but, the lads, we've got to support them. You'll probably find that person will agree with you on that level and say, yes, I will support the lads, but I want some answers off the manager and I want a reaction to fix it against Liverpool, which is a huge game. Again, Freddie Howe, I thought today was a huge game. Steve is saying, if I hear one more time about Trippier's exceptional delivery, I've not seen Trippier's exceptional delivery for a long time, mate. If that was a parcel, you'd still be fucking it. It wouldn't be in your bin, that's for sure. Kit Cole is saying the Plank returned and scored a hat-trick. This is relegation form. When will we learn that all-out attack isn't a wise option for us? See, it didn't used to be a problem, Kit, but I think we've been figured out as well. We've been figured out, and this is where Eddie's going to earn his stripes now, because he's still a young manager and he still has to evolve and develop as a manager. But when you're getting found out and when you're getting easily played through by shit teams, let's be honest with you, Forest have got one or two players, if that, right? And today we made them look a much better team. That wasn't the cauldron fortress of St James's Park that we've become accustomed to. That was like a Sunday league game where your teams just tossed it off and couldn't be asked because they got in too late or whatever, they just weren't feeling it today and they write it off. We'll beat Bedlington Warriors 9-0 next week or something like that, because we're not going out next Saturday night. That's how that looked today. It was appalling. I mean, the fact that a 17-year-old kid was man of the match by a country mile and did more in the game than his experienced colleagues, they should be embarrassed of themselves, to be honest. I don't need me on this bloody thing telling them how shite they were. They should know they were shite. Alan Parsons saying, this fucking game has spoiled my Christmas. I need reimbursed. They should give a refund. I don't disagree, Alan. I think it's ruined a lot of people's Christmases, but don't let it, because Christmas is still an enjoyable time if you allow it to be. Callum is saying, that was shocking, but I still back Howe. I back Howe. I do, but he has to change something, Callum. He has to change either the personnel or the strategy or the tactics, because we've been figured out. He has to do something differently. People know how to play against us now. They know where to target their weaknesses. They know that Mickey's got 1 foot. They know that Burns got no pace. They know that Bruno gets wound up if you get a few challenges into him and he gets rattled and puts him off of his game, They know Isak pulls out to the left. I mean, Isak today was decent, I thought, to be fair to him. He should have took his chances with a bit more clinical kind of prowess, but he's still getting back to his sharpness. But I thought he looked good at stages today. And another day, Alexander Isak got a hat-trick himself, and we're sitting here doing a completely different reaction to this match than we are right now. But a lot of other people, poor, very poor. I say Dubravka, although he wasn't poor today, particularly couldn't do a great deal with the goals. Everybody who said Dubravka was this fantastic goalkeeper when Pope got injured, there was a reason that we signed Nick Pope for 10 million quid, and that's the reason. Dubravka's too hesitant to come off of his line. His handling isn't particularly strong. He doesn't inspire his back four with confidence. He has too many ricks in him as a goalkeeper. That's exactly why we signed Nick Pope. So come January, Rob Lee was on the TV stream that I was watching on Amazon, and Rob Lee said, I think they'll sign a goalkeeper in January. And bear in mind, Rob Lee will still have some connections who know stuff about the club. I wouldn't be surprised if we do sign a goalkeeper in January. I really wouldn't, because I don't think Dubravka is inspiring confidence in anybody, to be honest with you. Got a comment there from Simon saying, Howe's comment at the end of last season in retrospect told us this was a possibility, that these players deserved their chance. That's bollocks, I'm afraid. There's no room for sentimentality. I don't disagree, Simon. I really don't, mate. I think they have give those lads a chance to do something, to show that they deserved to play Champions League football, that they could get as top four again. And the truth of the matter is that they're not good enough. They're not good enough for the Champions League. They're not good enough for top four football. Last season, everything went in our favour. The injury situation was good. Liverpool fell off the face of the planet. Spurs were Spursy. Chelsea were dreadful. Manchester United was having the wobblers as they are right now as well. But everything went in our favour there, and we were able to get ourselves into a really strong position. But we were consistent. We were well organised. We were drilled. We were intense. All of that's disappeared over the last kind of 2 months, really. This Newcastle United team looks like the old Newcastle United team under mediocre managers who, rightly so, people don't like talking about, like fucking Lord Voldemort or something. But Eddie Howe was never in that category. But if he's not careful, to quote that famous line from Batman, he might be here long enough to become the villain, from the hero. I don't think he will be anytime soon, because he still has a credit in the bank, but he has to change things. If we go to Liverpool playing exactly the same way that we've played in the last 3-4 weeks, we will get trounced. Absolutely trounced by Liverpool. Ian is saying, you're only as good as that your last result. We haven't had that lately. I don't disagree. That's football, harsh as it sounds. Alan's saying, why are the fans not allowed to have a go at the team and how? I've no idea about that, Alan, if I'm honest with you, mate. No idea whatsoever. It really winds me up. As Derek says, there are certain channels don't allow us to question how we're called out as fickle. Not on our channel, mate. Football's a fickle game, unfortunately. And if you don't like it, go watch badminton or something, because that's what football is. It's a game of passion. It's a game of opinions, and the opinions change from a kick of a ball. You're either world class or dog shit, in the space of 90 minutes. Is it right? No, probably not, but that's football, and we're football fans. And this is a social environment where you can voice your football opinion, and you can have a difference of football opinion. That is absolutely fine. But don't tell somebody that they're wrong or they're an idiot or mock them or laugh at them because they're upset the team is putting in rubbish performances and not doing what they should be doing, or not playing the way they can play. You have to start questioning the manager. I see some of the journalists sit in their hands and say bollocks all. The other journalists do ask the tough questions and they get loads of shit. Craig Hope splits opinion from a lot of people, but I think he asks the tough questions. I think on his channel as well, when he's on there, and he does ask the tough questions, and he doesn't let anybody hide him as a bad performance. And I think we need more of that. We really do, because Eddie can't hide behind this thing and this thing, fatigue and all this other crap. Do you know what I mean? It's just, for me, you've got to front up and you've got to say it's not good enough. We need to do something about it. Tyson's saying too much trust in purple patch players. 100%, mate. Almiron is that poster child, and older players playing above their level massively. I think we should have upgraded on all those players. Wilson, Miggy, Lascelles, Byrne, I think, even Longstaff. For me, Louis Miley's an upgrade on Longstaff straight away. If Joe Litton's back fit, the midfield three for me is Bruno, Joe Litton, and Miley. Longstaff's out of the team, on the bench. Listen, I know he's ran all day for us and all that kind of stuff, but he's not good enough. Miley's got much better attributes as a midfielder than he has. So Simple Ace is saying, being a Spurs fan, we did not win a Premier League game in 5, and we've just come out of it. The Premier League is so unforgiving. You can lose so many games on the trot. Well, hopefully we'll come back as well, Simple Ace. I'm glad to see you back. I love your manager, Big Ange. My dad's a Celtic fan. I love Big Ange. He's a fantastic manager. I think he's the best one you've had in a long time. I hope he does something for you. JC14, last thing you need when you're shocking one is Liverpool, City, Sunderland, and Villa. This is going to be a long month. I don't disagree, mate. I think it's going to be double tough. We've got Billy in the comments. Billy's one of the man for the Toon Review. Good to see you, Billy. Chicken's coming home to roost now. How's the reluctance to take certain players out of the team, either through fatigue or bad form, is killing us? You have to ask the question, Billy. You have to say, why are these players still getting the game? Burns' weaknesses are there for everybody to see. That lack of pace is so easy to exploit by a lot of teams now. They don't have the quality, but they have the pace, and they'll just look at Burns and go, right, we're going to attack that side all the time. And if Gordon's off of it a little bit, which he was kind of a bit today, he was better today because he wasn't as knackered as he was the other week because half his leg wasn't hanging off thanks to a bad tackle from Caicedo. But he did look a bit fatigued as well. But January is a massive month, and we need to bring in better quality players to fatten up the quality of this squad, because at the minute it's just not good enough. It really isn't. Trolls is saying, has Howe been watching Bruce Ball? maybe got the Book of Coaching by Steve Bruce for Christmas. Maybe got that. So we've got Pat Does Fitness. Where do you think it's gone wrong in recent games? He's an Arsenal fan here. Big up Newcastle. Well, thanks for jumping in the comments, mate. Where's it gone wrong? I think the squad's too thin is the main thing. I think the squad is too thin. I think the quality of the players in the squad has been overestimated. I think that we should have upgraded in quality, and I think it's now coming home to roost. I think the Champions League, we made a real good fist of it, put loads of energy into it and resource, and because of that, the players are burnt out from the back of it. And also, the tactics have been figured out a little bit, and we don't have much of a plan B. And I think that's something that we need to go to the training ground and fix. And I back Eddie Howe to do it because he's an excellent coach and he's improved these players exponentially. But I think some of them have reached their top level, like Almiron, for example, and Byrne even. They're not going to get any better. So if their best right now isn't good enough, you need to look somewhere else and you need to upgrade massively. We have a new member as well in the chat. Thank you very much, David Halliday. Good to see you, mate. Thanks for being a member. Welcome on board. We've got another comment there from Derek saying the Champions League exit, I believe, destroyed the players inside. Howe needs to ask for his experienced players to step up. I think he should have done. Well, he hopefully has done by now, Derek. They just haven't done it. We were saying, I don't think your club is run Abramovich style. Howe will be given another season. I'm sure he will. I hope I'm not looking stupid with that opinion. The thing is, the more, because of the money in the background, the more Howe has performances like that, the more pressure will come on him externally, and eventually it will drip feed in internally. It won't be all Newcastle fans, but there will be some of them wondering what's going on. I've already seen some thirsty tweets out there about Jose Mourinho and people like that. And Jose Mourinho plays ugly football in many times, but it's effective football. And if Newcastle are losing games that they should be winning comfortably, a lot of Newcastle fans might take a 1-0, 2-1 scabby win rather than getting beat 3-1 at St James's by Nottingham Forest. But I'm not saying that. but that pressure will grow. But he's saying when sides want him more than us, then the manager is in trouble. As a matter of fact, Billy Wells said that you never shy away from an opinion, mate. That's what I like about you. Ty is saying it's like Liverpool under Brendan Rodgers, great young manager, great at home, great in details, but never an elite manager to play multiple competitions. That is a very, very apt thing to say, mate. It really, really is. We're saying again, you're right. The leftovers of Steve Bruce need to go. The very fact that we're bringing them on, I was watching them talk about the game before, and they were talking about when we played them in the Championship. No, sorry, it wasn't actually. It was the Gallagher Shots lads in their preview. They were saying when we played in the Championship, and the players they were talking about are still fucking here. And I just went, relax. I thought, I cannot believe these players are still here. That is one of the crux of the problems as well, in terms of what's gone wrong with the squad. So I was saying, I know it's a bit taboo to be critical of Howe. Not on our channel, mate. You can say what you want, but how long can the look where we were 2 years ago be used? It's getting extremely thin now, mate. It really, really is. Steve McGarry is saying all these points against Deadwood players are moot when they're beat by Deadwood. Yeah, absolutely, mate. I mean, Forest shouldn't be beating us like that. No way. Philip saying, how can't attract top Champions League level players? Can only attract bang average English players like Hall and Momentum Gordon. That's a fair comment, mate. It's a harsh one, but it's a fair one. It really, really is. I don't know where it's going wrong, but I just think the more pressure the more we play those types of games, I think the more pressure is going to grow on Howe. It really, really is. We've got Manny Hanif is saying we need better quality players. We're bloody rich. Well, we are. I mean, we've used the money wisely. We've used the money well. But I think when you're starting to play like that, and you're starting to put in performances like that against teams, with all due respect, that you should be beaten and beaten comfortably. There's no hiding place. There's no hiding place for the manager. There's no hiding place for the players. And there's no hiding place for the ownership either. They've got to do something about it. And, we've said this before, that the UK ownership is run by Amanda Staveley and Mehrdad Gadusi, and they do a great job, and they're great with the fans, all this stuff. And the PIF are just in the background, trusting everything that they do. But the PIF don't want to be, also runs. They want to be right at the top of the tree. They want to replicate the Man City model and go toe to toe for them. So inevitably, at some point, they're going to ask what's going on. They might not, run in and say, right, we're sacking him, we're bringing him in. But they will get more involved slowly but surely if performances don't pick up. And I really hope that they do. I mean, I do back Eddie Howe to get this back on track. I'm going to put that on record. He's not a bad manager. He hasn't become a bad manager overnight, but he has to admit something's gone wrong. He has to make a change, and he has to do something about it. We've got another comment there from Pesh saying, I really want Eddie to succeed. At Newcastle today, there was no desire, work rate, and it's been shit management. 3 games in a row now, we've been diabolical. I don't disagree, Pesh. I think it's very, very difficult to get around that. And this is what I mean. I get people, want to be positive and talk about how well we've done in the past and all sort of stuff. But when you put in 2 shit performances back to back like that against teams that will probably be in a relegation fight this season, people are going to have to start asking questions of the manager and the players, and this whole, let's just put an arm around the lads. I mean, fuck me, I read some stuff before we come on. I thought someone was hosting a fucking telethon to get Nicky Almiron to put in his shift, and he was fucking terrible again. And you think to yourself, what's that going to do? Sitting up and cheering him and singing his chant. He still doesn't give him a right foot. Doesn't mean he can cross the ball or pass the ball. And I don't know what's happened with Trippier. I really, really don't. But he's dropped off the face of the planet in terms of form and quality. And that is really worrying, because he's so key to us. A few more comments, guys, then I'll shoot. Northumberland Rock Hopper, sorry, but for a winger, Gordon can't get past a player. We did see this in pre-season, that Gordon lacks a trick or two. It's served them quite well thus far, but it is starting to catch up on them a little bit, because I think people are figuring them out. Again, you have to adapt your game as a player when you're at the top level, because people do a lot of scouting on you. Lower league teams will do a lot of scouting on you. Lower position teams, the Premier League will do a lot of scouting on you, try and figure out how to stop you playing. And I think that's what's happening to Gordon. He needs to look for another plan B or plan C, really, in terms of if he can't just knock it around you and go, he needs to be able to do something. Kevin saying, very concerned that we get beat in this manner. I'd rather start again and move at least 7 or 8 out. How should be thinking about his position? Well, again, this is what I mean. This is the price on the ticket. This is the job of a football manager. Eddie Howe will know he's under pressure if he doesn't get performances. You can see on his face, he doesn't look as calm and cool, as collected as he has done. He looks like he's getting a bit concerned, because he's probably wondering why this is suddenly not working. But I back him. He's a good training coach manager, as Eddie Howe. Good training coach of a manager. You can go on a training pitch and get this right with the lads, but he has to be ruthless and he has to take people out of this team who are holding us back, who are weaknesses. Burns' pace is a weakness. Burns should be cover for Botman. That's it. End of. No more starting left-back jobs for Dan Burn. He's not quick enough. He gets done. Today, he looks slower than I've ever seen him before. Miggy Almiron, go in January and get a fucking replacement for Miggy Almiron, who's a better player, who can make a cross, find a through ball, finish, can be more clinical than Miggy Almiron's being. Fuck me, did you see that thing on the back post when we were up against it? What was he doing? He looked like he was going to try to play the ball out, but he wasn't even looking. It hit the Forest player. He could have put it in the bottom of his own net. Clueless, absolutely fucking brainless this guy is. Go and get a replacement. He's not good enough. Simple as that. Trolls are saying he's not saying that he wants Howe, but there are better managers out there. I'm not sure who, Trolls. Give us a few names. Anthony saying Almiron, Longstaff, Burn out. KK buy better. That's what KK always said, mate. Worked well for him. New Monkey saying injuries in games isn't an excuse anymore. Burn, Botman, Jolinton, Willock, Isaac all back and out of Europe and League Cup. Yeah, it's not particularly good, is it, when those big players are back? Comment from Jamie saying I'd expect us to lose 3-1 to Forest away. Yep, due to current form, but not at home. Players and manager need to take accountability. We need to bring in some quality new players. I don't disagree with that at all, Jamie. I think that is the crux of the problem. The quality of the squad isn't there, and we need to upgrade on it massively in January. The loan options are there. Let's do that. Great comment there from Christopher said, all I want for Christmas is a new right winger. No, get one in the January sales, mate, and we'll get one cheaper. Ronald is saying, is the players quickly coming back as fit as they should be? I don't think they are. That is a very good question. Me and Mark will probably try to do a bit of a story so far after the break, after the City game, so come and check that out. We'll jump on and do that and maybe give the players a rating, how we think they're doing and what positions we need to strengthen in as well. The January window is going to be open very, very soon. And by God, I want us to have some serious quality improvement on there. I really, really do. What we've got here, Simply Ace is saying this is a great show. Very impressed. Thank you very much, Simply Ace. Good to have you on board, mate. We don't kick any other fans out of the clubs as long as you don't give us any abuse. To be fair, we're already down. Don't kick us. Lee is saying, even Chris and everyone, what a load of crap. Play like a Sunday league team. Definitely need to get rid of the deadwood and bring at least 5 new players now. I don't disagree, Lee. I think when you're looking at that. This, for me, as Lemmy says there, bubbles burst. It seems to be. It really, really does at the minute. When you're playing like that, you cannot. There's nowhere to hide. And to be fair, Burn didn't hide last week against Luton. He come out and said we were shocking. And Burn played all right last week. He really, really did. But today he was woeful. Absolutely woeful. And you cannot hide from anybody in those positions. I see some of these fans, I've seen other channels call them the plastics and stuff like that. And I don't sit and give anybody shit for having an opinion that game was poor, whether you're at that game freezing your tits off or having that sun blinding you. I did see that on the ground. Or you're watching on TV or you're watching it in the boozer, right? If you're annoyed about it, you're entitled to be annoyed about it. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise. If you're calm in the moment and you think, hey, well, do you know what? We've got Liverpool. We can put it right against them. Then that's on you. That's cool, right? But like I said, both of those sides can exist in the same fan base. That's all right. Don't ridicule, take the piss out of people for it. Just accept the fact that they're not happy and you're all right with it, which I'm not all right with that. As a Newcastle fan, I'm furious at that. Alan's saying, Chris, you're starting to make my day feel better. I'm going for a drink now. Well, I'm glad I can help, Alan. I really am. I'm going to jump off soon before I get myself in trouble because I'm having a Boxing Day with my family here. So I've dove off to jump on and talk to you wonderful people. So I will jump back and see my family very, very soon. So a couple of more comments, and then we'll jump off what we've got here. Just flying down the list here. Loads of comments from you today, guys. Trying to keep up with it all. Yeah. We've got Michael saying, poor at home now. We're in trouble. What now? That is the question. That is a big, big question. It really, really is. And I'm not the guy to give the answer, unfortunately. I think all I can say is if Eddie Howe does not start putting that right, it's a huge month coming. Liverpool at Anfield is a push. I don't think that that we'll win that game. The Mackham's in the cup. We have to win that game. We have to win that game. Villa away, we're capable of at least getting a draw, I think, even though Villa are playing really well. And then in January, we have to buy players. We really, really do. Just seen a comment there, actually, from Steve. I'm not ignoring criticism of Bruno. Sorry, mate. I've just been ranting about Miggy and Trippier. Bruno was, again, sloppy today. Lost the ball. Like I say, loses his head a little bit, gets a little bit rattled. Going for too many Hollywood passes at a moment when there was key passes on. Louis Miley, I thought, used the ball a lot better than Bruno did today, even though Bruno's the more senior of the two of them. So, yeah, for me, I just think he does have to start looking at himself. He really, really does. Yeah, Merry Christmas to you too, Trolls. Thank you so much, mate. Really appreciate that comment. I've had a very nice Christmas, actually. I hope you have too, mate, as well. Right. So, God, Keith, I'm not going for that. Keith is saying Rafa Benitez or Big Sam. I don't think we'll have either, mate. We've had both. I don't think we'll have either back, to be honest with you. Steve agrees that he thinks Miley was very good as well. One more comment, then we'll go, guys. Andrew Ford, he has to rest players for the Liverpool game. Play the kids. We must be refreshed for Sunderland. Yeah, I don't disagree with that, mate. Maybe the kids will show some fight and desire that the senior guys aren't. But yeah, a real shit way to end 2023 for Newcastle United. So disappointing. But in terms of us as Evermore, I just want to say to you guys, thank you so much for your support through 2023 for us. We've had a great year as a channel, and we've really enjoyed talking to all you guys and all the new subscribers that we've had, jumping on board, all you great comments as well in the live chat. As I say, this is a safe space for you. If you're not happy about the performance, you can jump on and tell us. If you're content with the performance, you can jump on and tell us. We're not going to ridicule you or mock you or anything like that. I know some other people do that. That's not our game at all. But thank you so much to everybody who supported the channel over the last 12 months. If you haven't and you fancy doing it, then click subscribe. There is an option there for you if you want to be a member and give a little bit back to the channel. It's all free content, but if you do want to give a little bit back, it's only $1.99 a month. So, we're happy to have you on board. We're over 6,000 subs now, so loads of room for you on the channel. We'll be back with another match preview and post-match analysis for the Liverpool game, again, which is going to be another big one for Newcastle. Let's hope 2024 starts better than 2023 ended. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Have a great day. Whatever you're doing, enjoy the rest of your Boxing Day, and we'll catch you later. Cheers.